Hello again. Welcome to our study. Dinosaurs in the Bible. Are they there? Well, this is study number 2. If you haven't, go back to hit study number 1, and we're going to do this in a series of probably 4 studies. Dinosaurs in the Bible. Are they there? So let's pray. Father, once again, we marvel at your creation. We marvel at the things we understand, the things that we do not understand. We realize that your book is there for us, answer our questions, but our questions should be eternally, not simple things we understand or don't understand. Bless us in our endeavors to search the scriptures daily to see exactly what you want for us. We'll give you thanks for it in Jesus' name. So, dinosaurs in the Bible, study number 2. So here's the question. Now, Mr. Dinosaur there says, AC said, when did we get here? Or when did we become extinct? Well, does the Bible mention us at all? Well, going back to study number 1, it seems to be that they were there and they were mentioned. But here's the debate. We have new earth creationism or old earth creationism. Now the new earth folks say that the earth is 6,000 years old. Dinosaurs lived with humans. The days were 24 hours literally, and there was no death before sin. Well, there's the other side of the coin that says the old earth creationism, and it says the earth is 4.5 billion years old. Dinosaurs died before men were created. Genesis days were long periods. In other words, they weren't 24-hour periods. Well, death before sin is a part of God's creation. So, where do we go? Let's find out. Well, we understand this, that God created. Genesis 1 and 25, God made each kind of the earth's animals, along with every kind of livestock and crawling thing. And God saw how good it was. So did he create them? Evidently so. Looking at verse number 31, Genesis 1, now God saw all that he had made, and indeed it was very good. The twilight, the dawn were the 6th day. Looking at verse 30, Genesis 1, verse 30, I have given all green plants, in other words, herbivore, as food for every wild animal of the earth, every bird that flies, and to every living thing that crawls on the earth. And that is what happened. In other words, all animals were herbivores. They ate foliage, leaves, brush, twigs, that sort of thing. Now, watch what the scholars are saying here. Genesis 6 and 19. And of everything of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. So here's what they state. See, most dinosaurs are not very big at all, about the size of a cow, so we're told. 2 of each kind were taken into the ark. The rest died. There was only 8 people in the ark. The others died as well, the other people. See, those who were released after the ark died as a result of climate change. Now, we understand that to be so. The climate was completely different. It had never rained prior to Noah's flood. So the earth was covered, and it was a whole different ecosystem than we have now. Well, many became extinct because of men hunting them, because men tasted meat, and they liked it. Now we got cave drawings, and so, these not so extinct animals. Now, here's the issue here. You look at these old cave drawings, and they don't know how old these are, but for ancient civilizations to paint or draw these creatures, they'd have to literally see them. Now, that looks like a 4-legged creature with a big tail, long neck. Is that what it was? That's what they say. Now, here's a neat one. The coelacanth. It's a rare, ancient lineage of lobe-finned fish, once thought to be extinct for 65 million years. There we go again, that famous phrase for the evolution is 65 million years. And it's been extinct for 65 million years until they found one, 1938, and earning it the name of a living fossil. Well, there it is. There's the coelacanth. Obviously, been around for a long time. And the diver tells us they've found over 300 of them since then. But there's the floating and living dinosaur. Doesn't look like it's 65 million years old either. That hurts the evolutionists as well. Now, 1187 AD, 12th century now, there was a temple that was in the Angkor region of Cambodia, and they studied it. The Stegosaurus carving was discovered. It depicts an animal enclosed in a circular medallion with leaf-like features across its back and striking resemblance to that famed dinosaur, the Stegosaurus. Now, there's the temple. It's been around since the 12th century. And there's the carving there. It's been there since 12th century, and that looks pretty much like a Stegosaurus. And then we have these individual pieces there. These are the Ica stones, a collection of thousands of andesite rocks discovered in the Inca province of Peru. Now, they gained worldwide attention in the 1960s for featuring controversial engravings. Now, if you look at that one on the top, all the way at the top to the right, you'll see once again we got a Stegosaurus. And so what they say is this shows human interaction and hunting dinosaurs. They were there earlier, and it wasn't 65 million years ago. Well, there's fossils. Well, where are the fossils? Well, fish and marine fossils found on the mountaintops, such as the Himalayas. Say, are they proving that the mountains were once covered with water? Well, fish don't walk and fish don't swim outside of water. So if the mountains were covered with water and they found fossils on mountaintops, yeah, the water was where? Covering the mountain. Now here's a fun one. In 2005, a Tyrannosaurus rex fossil was examined by a scientist, we'll talk about her later, and found to have soft tissue within the bone. Now again, they say this was 65 million years ago that this particular creature had gone extinct. So they're looking at a bone of a T-Rex, and what they found inside the bone was red blood cells and collagen that were present. And if the animal or dinosaur were extinct, that soft tissue would have decayed long ago. But here's the issue. Scientists will try to prove the facts surrounding and proving the veracity of the Bible to be false. Anything they can do to prove that the Bible is false, they'll do it. Well, we found others. We found a mammoth discovered in 1900 in Siberia. Now this, according to they say, 44,000-year-old mammoth was found in a sitting position with a broken hip, suggesting it may have fallen. It was found with grasses and buttercups between its teeth and large amounts of undigested vegetation in its stomach. In other words, it was still there. Well, did it survive 44,000 years? Well, what about the calf? Found in 2007, this famously preserved this baby woolly mammoth also yielded significant dietary clues through ancient DNA when policy analysis of his gastrointestinal tract. Once again, you got foliage in there, but they have been around for 44,000 years. So these things start to shoot holes in the evolutionists. We're just now getting a start. Well, hiding from millennials of time, here's what we find. Animals that were presumed extinct and then miraculously rediscovered in the wild are known as Lazarus species. Now, they take that out of the Bible. I don't think they realize it, but they do. Because remote ecosystems remain largely unsurveyed, several highly elusive creatures have recently been found alive. Yeah, here we are, guys. We've been here a long time. We haven't been extinct for 65 million years. Animals thought to be extinct by fossil records often show these fossils are not as old as they thought. There's approximately 8.7 million species of animal that are estimated to exist globally. And around 80% of these species are yet to be discovered and described. We know that Noah built a boat. Well, here's what we find. Ancient civilizations across the world write of a cataclysmic flood. The flood of Noah, a worldwide flood, could have killed the dinosaurs quickly. Now remember, fossilization occurs quickly under great pressure. It's not gradual as does normal decaying flesh. If Noah would have placed 2 of the dinosaurs that were small, or just the eggs of these creatures, there would have been more than enough room for all of them on the boat. According to the biblical account, Genesis 7 and 20, the floodwaters rose 15 cubits, which is approximately 22 feet or 6.7 meters, above the highest mountain peak. So it was 22 feet above the highest mountain peak. It's a lot of water. Many scholars and commentators argue this means the entire globe was submerged and the waters created 15 cubits of highest mountains to ensure the ark could safely float over any kind of terrain. It crested 15 cubits over the highest mountain. Now here's fun. Genesis 16 tells us that the height of the ark was 30 cubits. Nearly all commentators agree that the phrase 15 cubits in chapter 7 verse 20 must refer to how deep the ark sank into the water when it was completely full. Okay, such information adds further support for a universal flood because it tells us that the flood prevailed over the tops of the highest mountains to a depth of at least 15 cubits. So, if the flood had not covered the mountains by at least such a depth, the ark could not have floated over them during the 5 months the waters prevailed upon the earth. Once again, the evolutionists are scratching their heads. Was there a big boat? Yes, there was. Did it float? Yes, it did. Was it down in the water 15 cubits? It would appear so. So the question so far, here we go. Why are dinosaurs not mentioned in the Bible? Well, guess what? There are millions of animals not mentioned in the Bible. Is the earth billions of years old or just 6,000 years? Well, those who agree with the Bible state that the 6 days of creation are literally 6 24-hour days. Was the flood local or was it a worldwide flood? Fossil evidence shows that fish and other aquatic organisms have been found on the top of mountain ranges. Now, once again, when something is fossilized, it's under pressure and it happens quickly. When something dies, it usually just decays. This happened quickly under great pressure. Were the dinosaurs alive during Bible times? Well, in our first study, we looked at Job 40 and Job 41, describing animals. We don't see them today. Job may very well have seen these creatures, and God says he created them with Job. Find that in Job 40 and verse 15. Understand, there are millions of animals not mentioned in the Bible. Billions of them. More questions? Did Noah have dinosaurs on the ark? Well, according to some paleontologists, there were some 70 to 80 different kinds of dinosaurs. Very few of them were large in size. Noah could have had 70 to 80 different kinds of dinosaurs, even in egg form, rather than full grown. How is it certain animals are only found in certain places? Example, kangaroos, only find them in one place. Well, now here's what the scientists tell us. Researchers, both biblical and secular, state that the world was at one time one land mass. The geographical landscape we see now is a result of what they term continental drift. The scientific theory states that the Earth's continents slowly moved across the ocean floor post-flood, making up current continents. Well, understand this. The Bible is not a dictionary for all kinds of things, especially animals. It is a roadmap for man's eternal home. It's the reason it was written. So there's a billion questions that we can ask. Why this? Why this? Why that? See, all we need to know to obtain eternity with God is answered within its pages. Eternity, when we get there, will answer all our questions. Now, whether there's going to be dinosaurs in heaven, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, not the mean ones anyway. Well, that'll conclude session number 2. We'll see you in session number 3.